Hello and welcome to Academy Live, episode 42. We got no hands from David doing this today. It's finally here. After about 20 months of waiting, it's finally over. We are going to go through the A1X on this episode today. So join me right after this short little clip.
In this course, you will learn how to make subjects pop out, create pockets of light, create blue and golden hour light, and how to easily light flat lays. My name is Audrey Willard, and I'm here in the beautiful city of Barcelona to show you guys some tips and tricks on how to create natural looking light with flash. Don't get me wrong, I love natural light, but I like to maximize my possibilities as a photographer, and flash gives me the power to create natural looking light whenever the sun doesn't help me out. My goal with this course is to make you guys inspired, build your self-confidence with making natural light with flash. I know some of you think that flash always looks artificial, harsh, or that it's just too complicated to control. This is so wrong. The first thing you need to know is how light works.
Hello friends from all over the world. What do we have here? We got Australia, Houston, a whole committee from New Jersey, and Norway, Detroit, Scotland, Sweden of course, Illinois, Seattle. There's a whole bunch of you guys, and as you probably can guess from if you've been checking out any forums, a lot of rumors have been going around the last couple of days, and also you probably saw it if you've already been on Profoto's website. We have launched it now. It's the Profoto A1X, and it is now available on stock at most dealers for Sony. So that's great news, and it's of course good fun that we have it for Sony, but there's also a lot of other improvements that I will go through with this product. And it's been almost 20 months now, almost 2 years since we launched the A1, and it's been a big success, and of course sad that we haven't had it for Sony earlier, which we've all been waiting. But trust me, the R&D team, they are working hard in getting the products out there as fast as they can. There are, of course, tons of different reasons on why certain things take longer than others and so forth. But I'm not going to go through all those things. But I'm going to, on the contrary, I'm going to focus on the things that are new with this one. There are actually over 30 improvements made on the A1, and that's why they decided it's going to be a whole separate product, A1X. The regular A1 will continue to live, and it will be available, so it's not going to replace the A1. So it's going to be a different price point, so you can jump in at different price points to start using Profoto Flash. Bishu turned into a flash. He has now reached his final form, says Sebastian here. Yeah, absolutely. Nothing would make David more happy than to become a flash. So I will tell him. No, actually, David is at one of the big arenas here in Stockholm, where I normally shoot still photography at the Globe Arena, but he's filming there, so that's why he could not be with us today. So, if you have any questions, any concerns or thoughts, pop them in there and I'll answer, as we always do, as frank and honestly as we can, and I share with you whatever I do know. There are certain things I don't know. For example, I do not know when it will be available for Fuji. And as I have mentioned before, our R&D manager and actually also our software manager at Profoto, they both shoot with Fuji, so I'd be surprised if they are not at least considering a version for Fuji. But timelines, I have no idea. So just to get that off the board, because I know that question will come up. And the same thing goes for any other brand. There are no timelines that I can communicate about future products on exactly, because that's also mainly depending on, because we don't want to set any expectation, and if something happens that they have to redo some mechanical thing or software thing that might delay the project, then everybody gets disappointed if it doesn't come on a certain date, etc. So I think that's also one of the reasons why they are not communicating future roadmap. But what we have now is the A1X or the A1 available for Canon and for Nikon, and we have the A1X available for Canon, Nikon, and for Sony. We mentioned 30 new improvements, and one of the cool things is that it has 20 channels. This might feel maybe as an exaggeration, but actually it is really a good thing, because if you are on a red carpet event, or if you're shooting a trade show or an event and you're shooting people, and you have other photographers, and now the A1 is starting to become so popular that we felt that there's a need to have more channels available so that we don't collide with other photographers using the A1 on one specific event within 1,000 feet or 300 meters. What was there? I have an old Profoto system from 15 years ago. The box and bigger tubes, will this replace this? Also, I have a Fuji X-T3. What are my options? Well, so no, it's not going to replace an old generator and big flash tubes, etc. This is still an on-camera solution that you can put on camera, and you can also, of course, have it off camera, but it's a small flash. It's not going to replace those big generators. Oh, we got a question about the A1, the batteries. Compatible between both systems? Yes, they are. So you can use the both batteries on both systems. And of course, if you put an A1 battery, the old battery on the A1X, you will not get as many pops as you get from the new battery. The new battery has a little bit more juice in it, so you can actually shoot 450 pops in full power. The other battery can deliver 350 pops. And both will be available and you can switch them in between. So I just want to make sure we keep up to date with the questions. I know the A1 uses Profoto remote triggering. Can it use a Pocket Wizard 2 or 3 trigger? I don't know if Pocket Wizard makes a radio system for Profoto. You'd have to ask them, because I don't know what they put in their products. I haven't tried it. So anyway, so the battery is improved, 450 pops versus 350. Recycling time has also improved. It's gone down from 1.2 seconds between full power flashes to 1 second. So it's much shorter in between the full power flashes, and of course it gets even faster when you go down in power. The user interface is upgraded and looks similar to the B10. For those of you who have played with the B10, so it's much larger numbers, so it's much easier to read, and I like it. It's more user friendly. But that, again, that's I guess a subjective thing, if you like it or not. But I like it. There's also been an improved fit and feel, so there's been some improvements on the finish, and some of the buttons have been changed and so forth. So they've been doing a lot of these smaller improvements. A lot of these things you'll get when you upgrade your firmware. And of course, if you have an A1, you upgrade the firmware, which should be available on our website as we speak now. Then you get the same interface as with the A1X, so you get those benefits. You also get the 20 channels, so it will be available also for the A1. So the interface, the channels, and also if you buy a new battery and you buy the 450 pop flash, then you will get increased number of exposures. You will not get the recycling time though, because that's a mechanical thing. You'd have to change the hardware. So if you upgrade the new firmware on the A1 and replace the battery, then you get a lot of those benefits. And of course, for Sony users, I actually have the product right here. And I have a little, since we don't have David here, I thought I'd put the products here. And so we can take a look at the user interface. It looks something like this now. Nice. Nice clear letters, really easy to read even from a distance on what power level. And I have of course put it at 2.0 since this is version 2.0. But then you just twist this one and you can change the power really easy. And just like in the past, you hit the middle and then you get to see the menu. And if we go into, I should have put the camera behind me. If we go check the channels, I can scroll down. I don't know if it's visible. I can scroll down all the way to 20. So you can pick your channels really, really easy. And when you buy this product, it comes automatically. It's set on channel 1. And there's a reason for that, which I'll come to shortly. The cool thing is that if you pop it on, let's say we have Sony Alpha 7 Mark III. So we pop this on, and if I pop it on now, I'll get a warning, as you can see there. Set wireless flash to on in the camera. So this is a specific thing for our dear Sony users. You need to go into the menu and you will see wireless flash. It's highlighted there and it says off. That one needs to be set to, let's see if I can get it. To on. And right away when I put it on, then the camera or the flash responded, I'm ready, good to go. So now I can fire away. And as always with the speed, it's same performance as we've had in the past. And if I start firing in high speed plus mode, I think it is. And for those people who know what H plus means on an A7, you can just post that in the comments. We see, as you can see, it's just like you had in the past. You can fire away for a long time, and you still, any competitor after 30 flashes, they will stop, but this one will just keep on going and going and going, and you will have exposure on every single frame. So it's really a big difference. And at the end of the day, you will end up with the problem of having the fast enough memory card, actually buffering on the memory card. That's normally what stops you from shooting fast enough. It's normally buffering, and as we can see now on the camera, see a red light there. So he's buffering at the very So, oh, now it stopped buffering. So it takes a while for the camera to buffering because I have a fairly slow memory card. So that was the thing to consider with the Sony. You have to put the wireless flash on in the menu. And if you haven't, then the flash will tell you to actually do that. And the same thing goes if you put the Connect on. Another thing is with any mirrorless camera, you cannot use the electronic shutter. So you can't use silent mode. But then with anything else, you can have the Connect. This is the Sony one. And as you can see, it has these small little thingies at the end over here on the hot shoe. And that's why you have this little protective cap, and it's really good to put that on whenever you're not using the product. So have the protective cap on to save these pins here. Same thing goes with the Connect. You just pop it on the camera and then off you go. And then you can just fire away. You need to turn it on, of course, which you do by turning this little remote, and then you can fire. Really cool. And this product also comes in a kit, which I have right here. This is the Profoto off-camera kit, and that has a, take this off, it has a A1X and it has a Connect. And this one is available for Sony, it's available for Canon and for Nikon. And then of course you get the Sony A1X and the Sony Connect, or Nikon A1X and the Nikon Connect. And they are, from start, they are on channel 1. So you can just pop it on and then start taking pictures straight off the box, which is really nice. We might as well actually just take a quick look how it looks inside. Since I have the box here and I haven't actually opened it yet. I'm just going to move it over here and change camera, and then we open up, and there you have it. An A1X and a little Connect right there. This also comes with a voucher. I think it should come with a voucher for the latest course that we have done, the natural looking light. So that one will actually also be in there, so you get that one for 50% off. And is there anything else I need to say about that one? It's really a cost-effective package, since what happens is that you actually do save about $199 if you compare to if you would buy the A1X and the Connect separately. So here we have savings of about almost $200. And the A1X, as it is, will cost you somewhere around $1,095. That in the ballpark, of course, might depend which country you have them in local currency, but it's I think it's about 20 euros less if you buy it in euro, and so forth in all different different currencies. Those currencies are hard to find that word. The regular A1 will be available for $795. So you have the three price points. Is $795 for A1, and then you have the A1X for $1095, and then you have the off-camera kit for $1195. So $1,195 for the whole kit. And so I think that's about that on the products. There's some things we can talk about regarding the channels. You have 20 channels. You can get that when you upgrade your firmware. You can get that on the A1. You can get that on the A1X. You can get that on the B10, and you can get that on the D2. And of course, future lights will also have that. And if you look at the remotes, you can have 20 channels, of course, then on the A1 and the A1X, since they have a built-in remote. And then also on the Connects. If you already have bought the Connect, just go onto the website and go under My Profoto, and you will be able to download the new firmware. Or actually, with this one, you just log on with the app, and you can download it through your phone. The products that will remain with 8 channels are the B1X, the B2, and the D1, and then also the Air Remote TTLs and the old Air Remote. So those will stick with 8 channels. So they are not upgradable. It's physically not possible to implement that change on those products. The B1X, B2, D1, and the Air Remote and the Air Remote TTL. And also, if you look at Air Remote TTL, you probably understand why with the display there that it's not possible. So that's that on this one. Let's see what up on the questions here. So where were we? Excited about can't access video. If anyone else has problems with the video, let me know in the text here if you only have voice, or then otherwise it's just Kevin who might have problem with his internet. But hopefully you guys see me. Scary it might be, but still I'm here. And besides that, everything else is the same like with the A1. Weight, sizes, and everything else is exactly the same. So there's no change to the physical parts around the product. So everything else is the same. And what do we have? At what power was the light when I did the burst? So now I just had it on 4.9. I don't even have to put up the close-up camera. You can still see that. It was at 4.9. So that was the power level I did it on. If you do full power, which is at level 10, then there will be 1 second in between each flash, so you can't do full burst mode. But then on the other hand, 10 is a lot of power, so it will be rarely that you're shooting with that sequence. Normally, when I work a lot with the A1s, and I'm somewhere between 5 and 7, and in that span I haven't had any problems with the, and I'm shooting with the 1DX Mark II, which used 16 frames per second, and I haven't had any problems with the flash in that power level somewhere between 5 and 7. Was that at full power? Yeah, no, so regarding full power, then it is 1 second in between flashes. But then again, it's 10. I mean, you will see that it's a lot of power. 2 battery kit. No, there's no 2 battery kit. Each one comes with 1 battery. I have, with my A1s, I have 2 batteries. I always have one in my back pocket, but so far I've never used it for almost 2 years. It's over 2 years I've been using this product. I've never had to change. Because normally if you are around 5, 7, you get so many flashes. And also there is one episode on the videos here on Profoto's page, or you can also find it in on YouTube. There's a playlist, separate playlist with all the episodes, but there you'll see one A1 batteries where we did a test to see how many thousands of pictures you did. And it was physically, I was just hitting, triggering over 7,000 flashes from a battery, but that was at the lowest power. But I did on power level 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you can see exactly how many flashes you got from each and every flash that was firing. So it lasts for a long time. But I'm a control freak. I need that extra battery, so I actually keep one in my pocket. The old battery is at $79, and the new battery is at $119. I think those are the prices. So if you feel you want to have that, just buy a second battery and keep it in your pocket. Can you control the A1X through the Connect using the app? Yes, I mean, through the app you can control. I mean, when you have this one, it triggers basically any flash that's in the room and on the groups that you're controlling here. So you could have a Pro 10, you could have a D2 or whatever flash, and then it would be firing. So basically what you do with the app is that you control the Connect. You change the power on the Connect and so forth. So all that is happening here. So then what's on the other side of the radio doesn't, it's not impacted. Sebastian has a firmware update idea for an air remote. When in manual, it will be neat to see the remote which power setting each flash group is on. Yeah, I fed that to the R&D team, absolutely. I also want that, and they're looking at different ways of how to solve that, because sometimes you could have, in one group, you could have different power levels on you can have, for example, 2 flashes on Group B, and you have, let's say you, for one reason or the other, you have 2 rim lights, one on the right side and one on the left side, and they happen to be a slight difference in distance. So one is at power level 4.9, another one is 5.2. Then they need to figure out how can you see the difference in that group on the different flashes, because otherwise, which one should it go for, 4.9 or 5.2? Or should you do an average, and so forth? So they are, people are looking into that at least. So because I'd love to have that as well, and maybe that's something we'll see in the future. Is A1X Canon if it works for Sony A7 on camera flash? Well, I mean, the A1X is available for Sony. So if you have a Sony camera, buy a Sony. The good thing with that is that then you get TTL, you get the HSS, and all the good things that you want to have. But if you don't, for one reason or the other, you don't buy the Sony version and you buy a Canon version, and you want to, let's say you have 2 cameras, you have one Canon and one Sony, then you can put the Canon camera or the Sony camera or the Sony flash on the Canon camera, or the Canon flash on the Sony camera, but then you would have to be on manual mode, so you don't get TTL, etc. And that's mainly because, if we switch over to this one, TTL is communicated through these small little copper pins that you see at the very end here. And those are not available on a Canon camera, for example. And similar, a flash for Canon doesn't have these small copper pins. So it would not be able to, it can talk, but there's nobody listening on the camera side. But what you do have is the center pin, this one right here. And this is the one that basically tells the flash to just go flash. It just syncs the flash. And that's the same for most cameras. There's one new Canon entry-level Canon camera that does not have a center pin, but that's only one model so far. So you can do that. Oh, I happen to have a Beauty Dish Halo. Yeah, exactly. So I need to be sitting exactly something like this. There we go. So I have this nice little halo around me here. So let's see, what else questions do we have? A1X battery fits on the A1. Yeah, exactly, it does. It's the same size. And here we have Dario is a wedding photographer. I mean, this kit is perfect for wedding photographer. You can either use the A1X on camera to kind of lighten up use it as fill light, lighten up shadows, for example, straight on. Don't go full blast on it because it makes everything flat, which is not so fun. But you can use it to lighten up shadows to make them brighter. So it's perfect for on-camera use like that. And then also, if you want to, you just pop on your Connect, and then you can have it on off camera, you're holding it in your hand, or have an assistant hold it, or put it on a light stand. Really easy. So could I use the Fuji flash to trigger this? I don't know what Fuji uses to what they send out. I'd be surprised if they have radio. So I don't think you can trigger that with that Fuji flash. Can I achieve HSS with the A1X? Yes, absolutely. So there's actually a whole episode, I think it's episode number 7 on this Profoto's Facebook page, on the videos. And look for episode 7. It's all about HSS. And it also goes through, because this one has something which is pretty cool, which is HSS boost. So it actually gives you a little bit more power on. You have regular HSS, and then you have HSS boost. So you get a little bit more power, which has normally been a problem when you are shooting in HSS, is that you lose some power, because what you do. No, look at the episode, because there's the whole thing. I explain exactly how HSS works and so forth, and then you'll understand why. But it's really cool. So this one has features. HSS features that other flashes don't have yet. So they are learning new things all the time. So both A1 and A1X has the HSS boost. Oh, Mark helped me out here with it's 11 frames per second. So with no live update between shots, and H is 8 frames in live. So we did 11 frames per second, and we did it for more, like 4 or 5 seconds. We can time it afterwards. So basically probably 50, 60 shots. So I can check the memory card. And with no problems. You'll have exposure on every single frame. Probably not the best looking picture since I've shot into the wall or down into the desk. But anyway. Can it be optically triggered? Yes, it can. It can be optically triggered. Will the A1 be stopped and replaced by the A1X? No, the A1 will not be stopped, so A1 will continue living, and it will have a lower price point. So it starts at $795, and then the A1X is at $1095. So you actually have 2 different entry points. Joined in late. What's the primary difference between A1 and A1X? Oh my God, Robbie, I can't repeat everything I've spoken about for the last 30 minutes. Unless you hang around, and I'll do it after we say goodbye to all the others, because otherwise they will hear the same thing over again. What the good thing for you, though, is that this will be available right when we're done. It will be available on here, so you can watch the first part where you see all the key benefits and the key differences where I go through, because there's like over 30 different improvements made on this one. And I also like the fit and feel of the new one. It's really nice. I like it. They made some changes on the buttons here at the back, etc. I cleaned it up, so it has much cleaner look and feel now as well. And what else do we have? We actually, so here we see actually a picture of the 3 ones, the A1X for Canon, A1X for Sony, and the A1X for Nikon. And then you have the Connect, the off-camera kit, where you actually have a Profoto A1X and a Connect in one kit. And it will save you $199 if you buy that. So it's really cost efficient if you are going to go off camera, which I strongly recommend. So what let's see, I saw some thanks, good thing laughing, Robbie. 'Cause but I mean, if you want to, we can have a one-on-one afterwards. So I don't have a problem with that. I can talk about this. And regarding the power level is exactly the same as the A1. So it's no difference there. So it's the same power. So it's not more powerful or less powerful. And availability is now. It's on stock. So if you go to your favorite dealers in your neighborhood, they should have it on stock, and you can just pick it up or place an order. They've been shipping it out, and there's no waiting, especially for you poor Sony guys that have been waiting for so long. It is now there. Is David coming back next week? Yes, he is coming back, and with vengeance, I'm sure. So he will definitely be back. Is it better than the Godox V1? I'm only kidding. Well, oh, this is so difficult. I probably need to do this on my own YouTube channel, but there are, I've already seen some other guys have been reviewing doing some comparisons, and it's a matter of taste, as always. There's room for all products. I'm biased, of course. I love my Profoto products, so it's going to take a lot for me to get convinced over that. But I really, this one, it's awesome, and it works with the whole Profoto ecosystem, and which is really useful for me because I have a whole bunch of other Profoto products. I can just throw it in the mix and then work with them creatively, all different ones. And if you talk about creatively, if you want to see something really cool on what you can do with speed lights, actually yesterday on Adorama's channel, I don't want to push any dealer over the other, but there's one guy called Seth Miranda on Adorama's Facebook channel. He did a really cool live, and I think that's available offline now. So if you go to Adorama's Facebook page, and you'll see how he's working with one A1X, and he goes, I think at the most he used 5 different A1s to create images, and he's really good. He always travels around with his A1s, and he is a master in creating stuff. He does one thing crazy though with the soft bounce and the dome. He puts them in the wrong order because you need to put the soft bounce at the bottom because it has stronger magnets and so forth. But besides that, he's a cool guy. And Seth, if you're watching, you know I love you, but I don't agree with this use of soft bounce, the way you do it. But anyway, I really recommend you guys to go over there and check it out, because he creates magic with these 5 different A1s, and even with 1 or 2. And he goes through also what happens if you shoot straight on, if you take it slightly off, and he's bouncing and using an umbrella. It's really good. If you are starting with an A1 and you want to know a little bit more what you can do and why you should do certain things, I think that's a great start. And he doesn't breathe a lot, he talks a lot, but a lot of things, all the things that he says is really worth listening to. So I recommend you to check that out. Shintaro said, I like your word. Yeah, if you buy Profoto products, you only need to cry once. Yeah, well, I've said it before, and I say it again. There are a lot of other products out there, and everyone can choose whatever they want to buy. But for me, with Profoto, you buy it once, and you only cry once, and that's when you buy it. But then after that, it's just pure joy. And also now you have options. You can go for an A1 or an A1X or the A1, the off-camera kit and so. So you have different levels depending on where you want to jump in. And I'm going to test out the Profoto A1X today at an event in my city. Joel, in Houston. So I wonder who's going to be there. I'm sure Chris Fain might be there, maybe. But I think you're going to love it. Just by holding it, you're going to feel a difference, and you're going to love the user interface. And with that, there's also if you haven't seen it yet, if you haven't been to profoto.com, you should go and check it out, because there's a photographer called Ruby Law, Law. She's a Hong Kong-based photographer, and she tried it out, and she was shooting in Beijing. And I actually have a short video. Maybe we should take a look at it. So check it out. This is cool.
I started photography only using natural light. But if you want to take great photos, you can't be dependent on the sun. That's why you always need to carry great light with you. I want to do this shoot in Beijing because I love the look of the city. Producing a shoot is not simple. Many things can go wrong. But with good lighting system, it just takes away the stress when you are already dealing with a million things on set. I used the Profoto A1X with the Profoto Connect trigger. You just turn it on and start shooting. I like Profoto, it's so easy to use. You just get it right away. I can always rely on the lights to give me a great natural look result.
Really cool. I recommend you to go on the website. There's a longer version of this video and the whole shoot. She talks about all the things that she's doing. This was just the short trailer. And Ruby Law has done some fantastic work as well. So go check her out on Instagram, etc. Because she's amazing and does images that really inspire me, at least. There was one question here about the power, if we need to go through the Connect to change the power if you're using the app. Yes, there is no Bluetooth in the A1X, so you cannot use the app to log on straight to the A1X. You have to go through the Connect, and then you adjust the powers. If, let's say if you have 3 A1 or A1Xs on one group, then you can change all those 3 in one go. So that's that. Supported models for the Sony, it's Alpha 99 Mark II, it's Alpha 9, clearly Alpha 7 Mark III, we saw that, but also the Mark II, the Alpha 7R, Mark III and Mark II, and then they have the Alpha 7S Mark II, and then you also have the Alpha 6500, so all those cameras are supported with that one. And I think I've covered everything. I'm just checking through I have this little cheat sheet here to make sure that I don't miss any important information for you guys. So again, go to your local dealers, try it out. If you are getting started with the flash, recommend the off-camera kit, because very, very soon after you have started with flash, you will want to go and start moving the flash from your camera. And so really check that out, and then and play with it, and of course come back and join us here at Academy Live. We are always going through on and talking about how light works, etc. So we will help you out. There's 42 episodes now on the Profoto's Facebook page, and also on the YouTube channel. So you'll have a lot of good information there to get started. And if you really want to be a light ninja, I recommend you to go to profoto.com/academy and take one of the courses over there. There are courses for all different levels. If you want to create natural looking light, then David and Audrey, they go through and talk about how to do that. If you really want to look at the fundamentals of lighting, how light works and shadows and backgrounds and all that, and really become an expert in light, then you have the fundamentals of lighting with David. A really good package, and it's compact. It's not one of those educational movies where you have someone puts a camera on a tripod and then it's on for 8 hours, and you see people putting on the softbox for 15 minutes. This is really cut, and it's packed with content, so you probably need to watch it a couple of times, otherwise you miss stuff. So it's really very, very short. Oh, here's a good question. Does the Connect still only operate on a single group? Yes, it's still on a single group. And I know that there are engineers working on the apps and so forth. And it's still an iOS-based app, which means you need to have an iPhone 7 or later to run it. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that, but I have seen some guys in the software team that are doing Android stuff. So I don't know what that means, but my guess would be that at least they're looking into how to figure out how to make an Android version of the app. Even though it's, I assume that it's a lot easier with the iOS, since you have one platform and it works for all different types of cameras. But with Android, there's so many different versions, and you have some cameras have 5 lenses, another one has 3, and there's so many different varieties. And how do you work with that? But I'm sure they have the right guys over in the R&D team to figure all these things up. So I think we covered everything, and haven't missed any questions. No, I don't think so. Because I want to make sure that you are up to date. And also for those of you who might come up with a question after this and feel that, oh no, I forgot to ask this question. My good friend Chris Fain will be online on the Profoto USA Facebook page. So he will be online in about an hour and 15 minutes. So give it another hour and 50 minutes, then he will be on, and he's going to do his take on the A1X, and I'm sure he's going to shoot as well. So there we have a second opportunity to jump in and ask questions. As long as you're nice to him, he's a nice guy, so be good to him. And I'm checking out, I think I've covered all the questions in the chat here. Yeah, looks like it was clear as mud. Either I was really clear. Again, coming back to, I'll do a quick repeat on the A1X. 20 channels, great if you have several shooters on place. You have a battery that can do 450 pops instead of 350 exposures on the old battery. Recycling time is faster. It's gone down from 1.2 seconds to 1 second between full power flashes. New and improved user interface, much cleaner, easier to see. And also improved fit and feel on the whole flash with buttons, etc. So go and test it out. I'm sure you will like it. And to stop battery draining, well, there's actually a few A1s that might still, if you still have that problem, update your firmware, because that will actually solve that. Because with these guys, they're not draining, and I've been using this one now since 3 o'clock, which is about 2-3 hours. Shooting a little bit, and I'm doing my bursts, etc. And as you can see, I haven't changed the battery, and it's still full. So it's been on for the whole time, and so the standby mode is better. And the one thing, I haven't had the modeling light on, but so it's just been on. And then I've been shooting these bursts just because I think it's fun. I don't know why I like it, but it's fun to pressure a camera and flash to the max. So there is no battery draining. And if you have an A1 with that problem, update your firmware. That's all I can say, because that will solve that problem. Because there were a few units where you actually had that, but that's solved with them updating that. Really cool. $10.95, $11.95 for this one. If you buy this kit, you get the Connect and the A1X. And it will also save you $199. Cool, and go check out the website, Ruby Law stuff, awesome. Also go to and check out Seth Miranda and his his little spiel on how to work with anyway from 1 to 5 A1s, and he did that yesterday evening, so it should be pretty high up in their flow. Really cool video. If there are no further questions, Your Honor, then I will rest my case, and I'll be back next week with David, and maybe guests as well, if everything works out well. We'll have some really exciting guests on next week's show, so it'll be crowded. Might be 4 people actually. So looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun, and you will love it as well, I'm sure. So anyway, I'm addicted to use the burst mode with my 1DX Mark II. Yeah, so I'm the same. Hosong Na here is also using the 1DX Mark II with them. It's really cool. Do you have the link to the other who you mentioned? Well, actually, what I'll do when I'm done here, I'll go in the comments and I'll put the link to Seth's little session, because I think it's worthwhile looking. And he might sound like he's angry, but he's not. He's just from Brooklyn. He even has a T-shirt that says that. Really nice guy, and he knows his lights. Man, I haven't seen anyone work as creatively as he does with his A1s. I mean, he does things that I can't do with my Pro 10s. So really good guy to look at. I recommend it strongly. But I'll put in the link here in the comments. David Henderson asked a question, so I'll probably reply to your, and everyone else can find it in that response. So it will be down there in a couple of minutes after we're done here. So anyway, thank you so much for your help and a lot of questions. You all so nice. I was hoping for some tougher questions. You know, don't be afraid of ask the questions when I'm here, or when David and I am here. Ask the tough questions. This is your opportunity to nail us up on the wall, or you know, if there are any concerns, because we really want to have. Oh, there came John Miller helped us out with this event actually. So now you have the link in the comments. But this is really a good opportunity also for Profoto to know what concerns you have, and I talk directly to the R&D guys with a lot of these improvements and changes, or whatever you have in your mind, and they are really, that's how they develop products. It's from feedback from guys like you. They are out traveling and of course listening to and meeting a lot of photographers, and they are testing stuff with them. So this is really important. We're not just doing it because I like to have all the light on me and sit here and talk to you guys. There's a purpose. I mean, they want to know from you guys what's working. Ronnie is asking if you can do HSS with this flash. Yes, you can do HSS, and you can do HSS boost as well, which is even cooler. And I recommend you, Ronnie, to go and check out episode number 7 of Academy Live, and you'll have all the ins and outs on how to do HSS with the A1 and the A1X. More color option for gel, please. Oh yes, I have fed that back because I totally agree. I want to have, you know, all the blues and the pinks and the reds and the yellows. So and not only the corrective ones. The corrective ones are great, but I like the other ones as well. So I agree with you, Hosong, and it's already fed into them. So thank you so much, everybody, and I'll see you guys next week, unless I see you in the comments below. During the next couple of days, I'll be monitoring if there are any questions that pops up afterwards. Okay? See you.